get right back to where we started from. Oh, did I mess something up again? This delay drives me nuts. Oh, nope. There we go. There we go. There we go. Mute that. Mute that. And mute that. Sounds like our audio is good. For once, we have a new little toy to play with. It is a little wireless microphone, so USB to the phone. So hopefully you guys will be able to hear me better, especially outside. We had heard that a few of you guys were having problems. So I'm just gonna chit chat for a little bit, wait for hopefully people to arrive. I've got a coupon code. We're gonna make some burgers using the Quick Patty Maker and this sausage stuffer. Initially, I was gonna do it on the grinder, but I decided just to do it on the sausage stuffer. I'm gonna try and give you guys a top-down view when I'm using the sausage stuffer. Shouldn't be too hard to set that up. It'll only take me a minute. Things might look a little bit funky for a couple minutes while I'm doing that. But we're making Hatch green chili burgers, and then we're gonna cook them on our Camp Chef gridiron, 360 gridiron. It's an awesome little griddle that does a phenomenal job on burgers, everything else. I'm also going to heat it up with, or put a little beef tallow on there and let that cook. So we're gonna cook beef burgers in beef tallow. It will be absolutely delicious. I already put the coupon code in the chat. It is July 15. That is gonna get you 15% off any non-sale item at waltons.com, up to $100 in value. So if you buy a, whatever that is, $670 thing, the max you're gonna get is $100 off. So just keep that in mind, but it is out there for you guys. I'm trying, all right, so you want the golf cart wreck story. I'll try and give you a little bit of look at my arm, though it's not that impressive. You can see a nice bruise forming there, and then I don't know if you can tell how much more swollen one arm is than the other. Let me pull up a photo of this. It was just me and a buddy being idiots. We weren't drinking, but that's my regular forearm. So that knot you see there that looks like a knee, that's supposed to be the straight part of my arm. So I don't know exactly what it is. I don't think it's a hairline fracture because I can move it pretty well. Picking heavy things up is extremely painful. Getting this up here, there might have been some unmanly noises that went on as I was doing that, a little bit of crying, but we got it done. The bigger concern is that I clearly had a concussion. My girlfriend told me last night that I pointed at paper towels and I wanted a paper towel and I asked for a spoon, and then I wanted a blanket and I asked for a rug. So a little bit of mental trauma there, but that's not unusual for me. We did not roll the cart. What happened was he was driving right at me and we both were like, oh, and we both just went the same way. And it hit me, like the brace of the golf cart caught me right here. And then I had my putter in my hand and it knocked me in the eye. So I like rolled, fell down. He got out of the cart and was very concerned. I was laughing already. Yeah, so I was like, I'm fine. He's like, no, you're not fine. You're bleeding. And then we looked at my arm. I was like, oh no. It already looked like the size of a Waltons stuffer flusher egg, basically. But we'll talk about that more on the podcast if you guys want to hear it. We'll put up that picture in some form better than that. But it was a good time. Important part, I finished the round and I beat everybody. I actually played better after I got the concussion than before. We weren't drinking and I was told I was slurring my words. So clearly I took a good knock to the noggin, but pretty hard. It's gonna take a lot more than a golf cart to take me out. Yes, it was Flip. Flip was the one who who ran me down. But again, he felt terrible about it. It was a good thing, or not a good thing, but it's all good. Everything's fine. I've got a chuck roast here, and we are gonna run this through our Waltons One-Shot. This is the grinder attachment that does both grinds in a single pass. So instead of grinding and then putting everything back through, we're gonna get all the grinding done in a single pass. Makes things much, much easier. I've also got enough Hatch Chile seasoning for 4.2 pounds. This is 4.25. I'm gonna get everything I can out of the grinder, but I figure I'm gonna lose, half an ounce or something like that. So I'm just making sure that I don't over season the burger by underestimating how much seasoning I need. Now, there's a couple of ways you can figure out how much seasoning you need. Easiest way, go to waltons.com. Every seasoning page should default to that seasoning, and you should be able to just say, hey, I've got 7.5 pounds of meat. And our seasoning calculator will automatically tell you how much seasoning you need. Or you just take the weight of the seasoning and divide it by the batch size. And this, for this, it's 0.36, I think, is the Hatch Chile, and it does 10 pounds, right? So we're just moving the decimal point one place, and then we multiply that number by whatever our batch size is. So it's not rocket science, but it does make it a little bit easier if you use the Waltons seasoning calculator. And that's always available to you. It's at waltons.com. I was kind of hoping Sinister MD would be on so he could take a picture of that, because I can move the hand, I can do this, but I can't really go the other way without a pretty good amount of pain there. And I'm cracking pulling my fingers every time I do it, almost it's cracking. So I'm wondering if I have a little hairline fracture in there. The important thing is I finished the round and I'm going up to Canada next week for a fishing trip. So my arm is not gonna be in a cast no matter what. It's very tender. Even that little dink against the grinder did not feel good. But here we go. Yeah, so I've got my chuck roast. I'm gonna slice it up into long, thin strips that I can feed down this grinder. I'm gonna grind it right into this nice large bowl. I'm gonna mix everything by hand. I did a test batch earlier today, and we'll see how the mixing goes. Didn't feel good. Thank God I don't need to get protein extraction on this, because just the trying to get all the seasoning and the juices. Also, this is an extra large glove because I couldn't get a large glove on the hand. It's a little bit swollen. We'll get that up there. Everything has already been sanitized with Maxim hard surface sanitizer, and I've white oiled everything that needs to be white oiled. Tex, do me a favor, put that July 15 code in there just in case anyone's not seeing it. Once again, that is 15% off any non-sale item at waltons.com. Good up to, $100 value. I always do my grinding separate from adding the seasoning. I know a lot of people will either add it in between the first and second grind. On this, we can't do it, or because it does both grinds in one. But I've also seen people adding it to just their cubed meat. That I'm not as crazy about. I'm not exactly sure why. I can't tell you guys what seems wrong to me about that. But if we have all of our cubed meat getting ready to grind and we start putting seasoning on it, something worries me about the mixture there. I feel like we're gonna leave a lot of seasoning inside the grinder, and possibly we could also be causing a little bit of backup in our grinder, because we're gonna start having salt. As soon as you start introducing that to meat, you're gonna start the protein extraction process. It's just going to happen. It's gonna solubilize, start solubilizing the proteins in the center of the muscles. So I like to add my seasoning at the end. Now, if you want to do it in between the first and second grind, that's totally fine. In fact, it will speed up your second grind just a little bit. It'll make it a little bit easier. But like I said, we're not going to do that here. So let's get our bowl ready. We're going to turn it on, and we've got 4.25 pounds here. And this is a 3/16 plate. And it's just gonna chew through this stuff. Absolutely no problem. With this smaller batch, 22 is a bit of an overkill, but it is what I have. So we're just putting everything through there. And then I'm gonna grab a handful of it. I'm gonna pass it back down. Doing that's gonna allow everything to be ground at least once. Some of the meat will be slightly ground twice, but I just wanna make sure I get as close to that 4.25 pounds as I can. Take our ring off. I'm gonna turn the grinder on and off incredibly quick just to help push the auger out for a second. See, that plate comes right out, and then we're just pulling everything out. Can't really use my right arm for this at the moment, but casting a musky rod should be fun next week. That should go well. All right, so we're getting all the meat we can out of this. Our grinder is done, so we're gonna get that out of the way. Okay, center everything back up. All right, so as you can see in here, I've got 4.2 pounds of beautiful chuck roast beef. We're gonna throw some Hatch green chili seasoning into that. I'm gonna finish the rest of this beer, snag a new one, and then we'll put just a little bit of beer in there as well, just to help everything mix. You don't need to do it, just a little bit easier on mixing. And hopefully the audio is a little bit better for you guys today. We're using a tool we've had for a while, but never really spent the time to figure out. But hopefully it sounds pretty good. Just a quick little spattering of beer in there. And then I'm mixing everything, and I'm being super careful not to start extracting those proteins too much. I just want all of my seasoning evenly mixed throughout the batch. And you can smell that Hatch green chili seasoning as soon as you open it. Hatch green chilies, for anyone who doesn't know, have a somewhat smoky, kind of earthy, sweet scent to them. They're incredibly popular and seem to be getting more popular every year. Really, really good burger mix. I would say out of the Waltons burger mixes, the best ones are the garlic and onion. I absolutely love, roasted garlic and onion. The jalapeno is really good, and Better Burger. And then this one's right up there with them. The jalapeno ranch is really tasty too, but you kind of have to be in the mood for something a little bit different, right? That one's, I wouldn't say strange, but it's definitely not your normal burger seasoning. Jalapeno ranch is a pretty specific taste. All right, so we've got pretty much everything mixed in here. You can probably see right down here, these 3 eggs. Those are our Walton Stuffer Flusher eggs, and I'm gonna use those to get as many patties as I can out of this. The Waltons Quick Patty Maker makes just over 1/3 pound burgers. So I wanna make sure that I get all of that meat that's down in the bottom tranche out and in patty form. All right, so now I'm gonna have to switch gloves so I can touch the camera. And when I glove back up, I will do my best to not make any noises that will embarrass me. Ooh. All right, let's see here. We're gonna take this entire thing out. Ooh. Bear with me for just a couple of seconds here, guys. Now, this might actually not work all that well. Okay. Yeah, because it's not going to come up any higher than that. I'm going to try something else real quick. I apologize. Should have tested that first. But I will shorten all these legs. And I will put you guys up on the table. And we can all look down at it together. This is why we have cameramen normally. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that podcast we did with Travis. We had a ton of fun filming it. All right, that's a little bit better, I think. Now let's just back it up so you can have a top-down view. Let me see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Time to glove back up. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Any Milwaukee products for the win? Is that? No. So Flip, the guy who ran me over with the golf cart, is a huge Milwaukee product fan. I am a basic DeWalt guy. But I am going to be up in Minneapolis for a night. Not that that's that close to Milwaukee, but it's in the same region. I do hate Minneapolis. It's my least favorite city in America. Oh, like Milwaukee's best? Gotcha. No, it is always Miller Lite. Why would we drink anything else? Unless it's Dos Equis. All right, I've got to come up with a quick way to handle all these burgers that we're about to make. Oh, that did not feel good. All right. So we're going to do our best from right here. And I can't see the camera, which I hate. See if I can move this around. Yeah, that'll help. All right. So basically, for any of you who don't know, this is the Waltons Quick Patty Maker. Fill up a cavity, push it to a side. Get that out of the way so it stops hitting it. Push it to a side. The patty will come dropping out. I guess it has to come back more this way. Then just keep reversing, 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 and we've got a quick, easy way to make perfect size patties. InBev, yes, I remember them from the Bud Light nonsense. All right, so we're gonna fill up a cavity, push it, patty falls right out, perfectly sized. Really is nice if you wanna make a lot of patties really quickly and make sure that they're all exactly the same size. Makes life a lot easier. So again, now we're just gonna pull it instead of pushing it. We've got another one. And you can overfill, underfill a little bit if you want. We also do sell a breakfast slider or breakfast or slider attachment for this. They're just much smaller circles, same thickness, but smaller. So you can do breakfast sausage sandwiches really, really well with this. I have a freezer full of them here. All right. We've got probably one more after this before we start using our stuffer flusher eggs. And we're gonna see if we can't get one more out of this. So I'm gonna pull piston all the way to the top. Take my stuffer flusher eggs, and these are just super pliable. They're actually like physical therapy eggs is what they're called. We had a Meatgistics member called Dr. Payne, who was a physical therapist, and he suggested these as the best way to get the rest of the meat out of the stuffer. So, let's see what we can get here. Not bad, that's an absolute full one. See if we can get one more full one. No, not quite. Pretty close, but not quite. So when we don't have a full one, as I pull it aside, it's gonna make like a half moon patty. And for the fun, let's see. Let me take this out. Get this set back up normally. Whoa, there's the back end of the studio. The gorgeous Meatgistics sign that Allie had made for us. And we'll get this all the way set back out. And again, that thing is spinning like crazy. I apologize. Trying to give you at least something fun to look at until I can corral it. And it should be interesting. I'm betting that we will have a stuffer flusher egg pushed pretty much right up against the base of this. So yep, we have a stuffer flusher egg all the way into the adapter for the Quick Patty Maker. Now this is the sausage stuffer one. It's the same size that goes with the number 5. That's bouncing all around over the place over there. But it is the one for the stuffer as well. So we've lost about that much meat. We're gonna grab that, add it to our little half patty, and try to save as much of this as we can. No reason to waste beef. Oh, that did not feel good. We'll see if there's anything left in the... Oh. We'll see if there's anything left in the bottom. And there's really not. Pretty much all we have down there is that stuffer flusher egg and what? A very, very small amount of meat. Yep, so the less meat you throw away, the more money you're saving, obviously. So that is the half moon one I made. And for anyone who's wondering why I'm making very strange noises out there and set up, I'm gonna move the camera out there and then I'll grab those burgers. We'll be right back. And hopefully this new audio setup we have solves at least some of the problems that we were having. People were saying you couldn't hear anything. Although now I kind of feel like you're not gonna be able to see anything. Can you guys see that at all? Hopefully you can. I'll be right back. I've also got a new digital thermometer right there I'm testing out. That's from Ascali. For those of you who've been following us for a long time, you know that we like a lot of Ascali products, specifically some of their scales. They have a really good product called the Ascali Precision Digital Scale that does a great job at lower lower weights. It does fractions of grams. Before we got that, we weren't a big fan of telling retail customers that they could use sodium erythorbate. It's a very potent, very powerful cure accelerator. And without a way to accurately weigh that additive, we didn't think it was a good idea to recommend it. But with that scale, it does a great job. So 7/8 of an ounce of sodium erythorbate is enough to accelerate the cure for 100 pounds of meat. So, you know, if you're doing a 25-pound batch, that's a very small amount. If you're doing a 5-pound batch, that is a tiny amount. So this is our beef tallow. There's no hope for it. Sorry, guys. Awesome. So we're just gonna quickly. You've got to be kidding me. Tell me you saw that. My whole thing of tallow just shot right down there when I struggled that hard to get it out of the canister. That was evil. That was absolutely evil. Oh. So we're done with that. I'm not trying that again. We're gonna throw these 4 patties on there. And if you can see this one right here, you see how it almost looks like Pac-Man? We've got a little jaw on that. Just because I didn't fill it quite full enough. I'm gonna go grab my cell phone so that I can look at what you guys are texting about, and I'm gonna grab my beer too. Oh, I've been missing a good amount of texts. I apologize, guy. All right. Something bingo. A still eatable or edible, and you saved money. We can see the flat land of Wichita. Yes. Wichita does not have many hills, let alone mountains. That is the train that occasionally drives Patrick nuts when we're trying to record audio and we hear train whistles coming through. That's because we've got a concrete plant right there. They're actually really good neighbors though. For the most part, they don't make anywhere near as much noise as we were afraid of. And the dust is negligible. Anyone can see who coming. It says, anyone can see that coming. What? The little bit of tallow going down there? Yeah, probably. That is kind of how this whole arm thing has been going. Tex, do you know who Sinister MD is on Meatgistics? I couldn't figure it out. For anyone who's joining us here who doesn't know, Meatgistics is kind of the whole reason we do these live streams and a lot of the media we do. It's a community site that we set up for answering meat processing questions. We started out initially in the hopes that we would answer every question, but it kind of turned into processors helping each other out for the most part. We still definitely get involved, and I'm trying to get back on the site more than I had been for a while. But it is a lot of you guys getting answers from you guys, which makes it really, really nice for a bunch of reasons. One, do you always want our opinion? No, sometimes you want your guys' opinion, right? Because we're gonna have very specific opinions about equipment, seasonings, all that type of stuff. And occasionally you want the opinion of somebody who's not associated with Waltons. So Meatgistics allows you guys to do that. This is not cooperating at all today. So that's a really good way for you guys to be able to talk to each other without us getting in the middle of it. We also have our whole Meatgistics University on there, which is, we try to break down meat processing into like probably like 8 or 9 categories now, but it was supposed to be 6 to begin with. We went well past that. And then we have like class-like structures that should give you at least a very basic to advanced understanding of how to make a snack stick, how to make a summer sausage, how to make a bratwurst. What are the differences in those processes? When would you want to use certain additives? When you wouldn't want to use certain additives? Yeah, so there's a whole section on that. But really, the heart of Meatgistics is the community. For anyone who's just joining us for the first time, you probably noticed that Tex and I fire back at each other a good amount. That's because he and I have known each other for about 6 years now. Through the Meatgistics board, we have a friendship outside of just this, so we like to give each other a little bit of crap. But this is that Ascali thermometer I was talking about, and whoa, it is very hot on the side of that grill. It's dropping now, but this is right next to it is like 130 degrees. So we're just testing this out. It's just seems like a fairly standard flip out thermometer. It's supposed to be instantaneous. Everything claims it's instantaneous. They all take a second or two to get to whatever the correct temperature is. David says, you're human and male species. Nothing can be perfect. Yeah, yeah. Did you just assume my gender? Oh. But those are cooking up nice. I just can't get comfortable with this. Oh, there you go. You can see it there. Like my forearms are not that big. There's a lot of swollenness in there. What did make me a little nervous, Tex, is this whole section where it's starting to bruise. That's very firm. Like the skin is getting hard here. That's probably not a great sign. Kitty, we are making Hatch green chili patties. We used our Waltons grinder with our 22 one-shot, which does both the grinds in a single pass. We used some beef chuck roast, and then we used our Waltons Quick Patty Maker to make these patties. You'll see when we look at them, there are 2 of them that I didn't fill quite enough. So we've got a little like Pac-Man look to it. They have a little opening at the end of it. It's all about how tight you pack them. So the tighter you pack them, the more circular they're gonna stay, but the less burgers you're gonna have. Don't say, yeah, no, usually I'm like, oh, but I understand with my track record very recently, telling me not to stab myself in the face is probably helpful. I probably should be reminded not to stab myself in the face. That has been how things have been going recently. Is there a Bratfest this year? David, no. So what happened with Bratfest, for those of you who don't know, Waltons, one of our big charities is the Wichita Air Capital Flyers. They are a special needs Olympics team that we like to sponsor. We give them as much money as we can. And for a couple of years, we did something called Bratfest. It was in Wichita. We would bring a ton of local charities, local businesses together, and we would sell tickets for it. They would sell beer, brats, whatever they wanted, and we would donate all of that money at the end of the year, or at the end of the event, to the Wichita Air Capital Flyers. And then my boss, who's a very smart man, sat down one day and ran all the numbers. He's like, hey, we can cut them a bigger check if we don't do this. We're actually losing money doing it this way. And we really do like the Air Capital Flyers. We want them to be successful. So we decided that it was best if we just gave them what we would have spent on it. So we're at about 122. I'm gonna flip these one more time. And for the Pac-Man thing I was talking about, hopefully I can get this. That's what I meant by Pac-Man. It's got that little mouth hanging open there. And that's just from me not stuffing it fully enough. Had I stuffed it fully, it would have all sucked together. But David, hopefully in the next year or so, we will have something we've been talking about doing on Meatgistics for a long time, probably 3 years now. And it's called, or we're hoping to call it the Meatgistics Meetup. It'll be a weekend where we have meat processing classes, make some sausage, and basically just a bunch of Meatgistics guys hanging out here in Wichita for, you know, probably something like Friday evenings, Saturday all day, and Sunday. We're hoping to do that sometime in the next year or so. For people who follow us a lot, you probably know Brett's daughter came back, Allie. She took over a ton of the things that I used to have to do that I was not good at and did not want to do. And she's excellent at. And so I have a lot more free time now. I'm trying to get caught up on a bunch of stuff. And then once we are back to like a good baseline, hopefully we can get that going. The difficult part about that is we can't do it during hunting season, right? Because nobody can come because you're all out hunting, as I am. The second is weather down here. We don't want to do it in July. It sucks here right now. It is like 90 something degrees with high humidity. We have some wind today, but the last couple of days has just been like still and humid. That would not be fun. And then we start playing around like, okay, well, what if we do it after hunting season? But there's a bunch of things that come into there business-wise. So trying to figure out a time to do that. But yeah, no, I mean, she literally, she took over most of that, and she brought in people who are also very good at taking things off my plate, I guess. So new employees who don't need my help with a lot of stuff. Just Cal Guy, what's going on, man? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. What is that? Okay, so we've got our scallion right here. We're gonna put it in. I'll tell you what it goes. It says immediately 145.8. Wow, that was actually very, very fast. We're gonna cool this all the way down, clean it on my apron as you should. We're gonna try a second poke. 152. I mean, this is fairly close to instant. And done. Yeah, that is very, very close to instant. So that is not a bad little digital thermometer. I'm impressed with that. All right, we're gonna throw some cheese on these. I'm 100% gonna go get cheese that hasn't been sitting next to an extremely hot griddle. There's no chance of me getting this out of the plastic. Luckily, I have more. And with this nice new audio setup, I can continue talking to you guys even when I'm away from the camera. I'm gonna have to remember that. That could lead to some embarrassing situations. If I forgot that you guys could hear me as I walked away from the camera. And since this is live, there's no editing that we can do of embarrassing noises I make. This is the Waltons Artisan Apron. It's got a nice little word cloud on here. I tried to put my name in here in numerous places. Austin caught them all and would not allow that. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you posting that coupon again. It is good for 15% off anything that's not on sale already at waltons.com. Sorry, weird car rolled by. Anything that's out of it or not on sale at waltons.com, and its max value is $100. So just keep that in mind. So you can save up to $100 with that 15% off coupon. It's good from right now until 9 p.m. tonight. All right. We're just gonna close that for a second. We're actually gonna turn this all off because they're already fully cooked. I just wanna melt that cheese just a little bit. So I adore cooking on a griddle. At home, I have the Pit Boss something. It's an enamel griddle. I really like that. This, I guess, is rolled steel, which is a little bit different. The only downside that I've seen so far to this, and I don't actually know if it's a problem or not, but they say you have to warm it up somewhat slowly. You cannot turn it on full blast. You have to start it at like medium high and then get it to whatever temperature you want. If you try and do it at just like full temperature, you're going to warp it. So obviously I haven't done that because I've been very careful with it, but this is a great griddle. It is the Camp Chef Gridiron 36 inches long. My Pit Boss at home is an enamel grill. It's a little bit, I think, more robust is the wrong word, but it doesn't have that warping problem that I'm aware of, at least. It is harder to clean. This one's easier to clean. However, I have to put a light coating of some sort of oil on this after every cook. So there's a little bit more maintenance with this one, but it definitely is easier to clean by a really good amount. Is it the Naked Gun when he wears the mic in the bathroom? That sounds like a Zucker Brothers joke, and I believe that is really disappointing. Thank God there's not much beer left in this, because this is very warm right now from sitting next to that griddle. Temperature probe out the door when you get enough experience. I did a backstrap this weekend and it turned out perfect, but of course we had enough Millers with us to, after sweating for 6 hours. So yeah, I mean, I get people don't necessarily always feel like they need a temperature probe, but I'm gonna make the same argument I make when people say, I don't need to add SureCure to my jerky because I'm getting the temperature or the water activity so low. You also don't need to wear a seatbelt when you drive around the corner, but it's a good idea. I mean, it's an extra level of safety. And especially with wild game, warm beer with lots of beef spit on it. Delicious. Especially with wild game, because people have such a propensity to overcook wild game. Just be a little bit more cautious with that. And I feel like, oops, I left the fridge open the entire time I was out there. I feel like that might give people a little bit more confidence in not cooking their wild game quite so much, which hopefully would lead to a better finished product. All right, let me get some stuff out of the way. Let me get these burgers in the fridge, and then we will do a taste test. I mean, let's be honest. I already know what the taste is gonna be. They'll be delicious. It's Hatch green chili, which is an awesome seasoning, and it's meat that I ground up myself. One of the things with grinding your own meat is a lot of the times when you're buying, let me straighten that out. When you're buying already ground meat at the store, they've done a process called hot boning. And that's how they get as much of the meat off the bone as possible, which good for them. We should use every ounce of the animal that we possibly can. Bad for you is that it does start to denature the proteins during the process, which I don't care what anyone says is going to give you an inferior product. It just won't be as good. I've got some nice simple sesame buns. No vegetables on my burgers, unless I put on a little bit of ketchup, which should be considered as a vegetable. A sugar vegetable, but a vegetable. All right, let me see. Yep, I do temp my hot dogs. That is correct. Tag filled by, but I'd hoped to have a tag filled by now most years. Do you not have a tag? All right, NorCal archery opens in one zone on the 13th. The earliest date anywhere, I believe. I Yeah, that's got to be the earliest. The only other one I know of, I think, is, God, I was just looking at this. There's an August one, and I want to say it's Oklahoma, but maybe it's Arkansas. Somewhere around here has an early August deer season as well. But yeah, no, not as early as July 13th. That's insane. Do you guys have a ton of deer in Northern California? So, Hatch chilies range from 1,000 to 4,000 on the Scoville scale. If anyone doesn't know, the Scoville scale is just measuring how hot something is. 4,000 is really not that hot. It's actually just not hot. But these, whatever they use to make this one, is on the upper range of what a Hatch chili pepper can do. I'm not a big, let's eat the hottest thing we can guy. Food should be enjoyable, not a dare. Or like people eating scorpion peppers, I do not understand that. What are you doing? Ryan, I don't have to add anything I don't want to this. Definitely not pickles, and definitely not onions. Maybe a tomato, maybe some lettuce. But when I order a burger, the first thing I always say is no pickles, no onions. I'm not gonna be a jerk about it if it comes with pickles and onions. I just don't want it on my burger. The only topping like I actually want is generally ketchup. With Hatch green chili, that doesn't really work. Ketchup and this, like I don't want any sweetness with this. I just want the heat and that kind of like smoky, I don't even know, like earthy flavor of a Hatch. All right, Just Cow Guy, what do you think about, because I've heard this recently, what do you think about reintroducing grizzlies to California? Because whether you know it or not, there is a discussion out there talking about bringing grizzly bears back to California. I mean, it's on your flag, so it would make some sense, but that just seems like a bad idea to me. David says he thinks Nebraska has an earlier season. It might have been Nebraska. I know it was a state right around Kansas. They estimate 475,000 deer in California. I mean, that's a good amount. One of my favorite stats, and I learned this from backcountry hunters and anglers, is there are more white-tailed deer in America today than there were when Columbus landed. So that is one of the few like true success stories that we've had in conservation. Like that is an amazing stat. You think the jalapeno mix is extremely hot? Are you being facetious or no, Tex? I can't tell. The jalapeno mix is one of my favorite patty mixes here. And yeah, it's got some jalapeno heat, but it's not like crazy hot. Unless, oh, that went right up the back of my nose. Unless you add ghost pepper cheese to it. Now, high temp ghost pepper cheese, do not be fooled. That is legitimately hot. In fact, tomorrow, I'm making some gigawatt with ghost pepper cheese. So gigawatt is a jerky or snack stick seasoning. I'm making snack sticks with gigawatt tomorrow. I'm making apple brats with cheddar. I'm making Philly brats with Swiss. I'm making jalapeno, the Waltons jalapeno summer sausage with hot pepper. And mozzarella, I'm making hot buffalo wing brats. So we're redoing a bunch of videos on our cheeses going to be talking about like why you should use hot pepper cheese, some of our favorite seasonings to use each different flavor of hot pepper or of high temp cheese with. So those are the seasonings that I'm using tomorrow. The last Grizz was killed in 1922. There's no way possible to bring them back. Too many people in the wild places. There is also a conspiracy theory that some are still up in the North State. Do you buy into there still being grizzlies in Colorado? Because I've seen a video that's very compelling. Now you can't always tell like actually where it is, but it looks, the Rockies in Colorado, sorry, kind of, I don't know how to describe it. They look fairly identifiable, right? Like you're like, okay, that looks like a Colorado Rocky Mountain. And I've seen a video where that was 100% a grizzly bear from a guy who's well accredited or whatever, you can trust him. And he says it was a grizzly bear in Colorado. All right. So according to Tex, Ryan Jones, the Waltons jalapeno patty mix is actually like hot. I didn't think it was. I used to say the habanero barbecue, summer sausage, and snack stick seasoning had no heat. I would tell people that all the time. And then I was at an event once and I served a piece of that to somebody and they came back like 5 minutes later, like red, just red and sweating. And they're like, that was so hot. So it's all just like different, how you experience different heats. And I'm not saying I'm tougher than Tex. That's not what I mean at all. I mean, I am, for sure. Grizzlies have a tree that needs to hug so it can be saved on the West Coast. Yeah. There does seem to be a good amount of tree huggers out there, but listen, we work with backcountry hunters and anglers. There is at least half of that organization that is 100% tree huggers. They don't hunt, they just like going out and either enjoying nature or working on the land to improve it. And that's totally fine. We need everybody to be able to make all of our public lands work. And for anyone who didn't pay attention to it, there was a bill that was trying to get through Congress that was basically going to allow the sale of our public land, your public land and my public land, to privatized companies. And Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, or BHA, played a huge role in stopping that. And it does appear to be dead. So, all right. So it's not Nebraska then, because Tex just said that they don't open until September 1st. Oh, okay. Just Cow Guy saying the BHA guy on black bears. Oh, okay. What was it on, like the actual BHA podcast? Just Cow Guy. What podcast? Yeah, I mean, Tex, that is possible also, right? Like, when they're making these seasonings, they're bringing in jalapenos, they're bringing in Hatch chili peppers, and there is just going to be a variation on how hot or how potent whatever ingredient they got in was. So sometimes it's going to be a little bit hotter. They try to obviously keep it within a range, but there's going to be some fluctuation to that. The one thing that worries me about my arm right now is if I grab my wrist and pull it away from me, it feels amazing. Like all the pain goes away, and that just feels so good. Makes me think that there might be a little fracture in there. Oh, see, now that's not right. Just Cal Guy says, our tree huggers in Cali buy all the tags so they sell out the draw zones. That is terrible. That's not right. And that's actually bad for the animals, whatever it is, whether, well, you don't have elk out there that I know of at least. That's bad for the deer. But maybe you're talking about bear? You might be talking about bear. Meat eater? Okay. Was it a recent one? If there's a recent one, I'll check it out and find it. Because that sounds interesting to me. Oh, was it Callahan? Yeah, Brian Callahan. Callahan? Callahan. No. I'll show you the picture again. I got run over by a golf cart. And that is my arm. Not my knee. That's my elbow right there. So I had a rather large contusion. Possibly some sort of hairline fracture. With Steve? Okay. Yeah. Brunella is... It's just sometimes you listen to a guy and you're like, yeah, I can trust that guy. I like him, even though you've never met him. Brunella seems like that type of guy. And so does Brian Callahan, whichever one he is. He seems like one of those guys too. Very nice guy. I've met him. Seems like a really decent dude. Very. He doesn't think he's anybody. Like, he's just easygoing and fun to hang out with. How does it feel when you squeeze it together? What, like push my arms together? I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I was hoping Sinister MD would be on here and I could get some sort of online opinion. Gomero Padilla says no. There's only one nation, Raider Nation. No. Incorrect. Though I will say, I really do think you guys have maybe a generational talent at tight end. Brock Bowers seems like a beast. He's going to be a real problem for defenses for a long time to come. And he blocks pretty well, too. So I'll give you that one. You ate up no golf practice shooting a bow during the summer? You ate up no golf practice. I don't know what that means. You ate up no golf practice. I mean, I have played a ridiculous amount of golf this year. I've played more golf this year, last 12 months, than the rest of my 44 years of my life, like all combined. Professional ATC opinion, you have a fracture, not a hairline one. I don't know what ATC means, and I don't believe you. I know that you're not a doctor. All right, Just Cow Guy says they buy the deer tags up. Oh, lots of elk here. Okay, I didn't know that about California. Oh, shit. I'm going to be in California. I fly out November 14th. I fly into LAX, and then we're going to play Trump National Golf Course. Then we're going to like 2 golf courses in Calabasas, like in that area. So we should, if you're in that area at all, though you are in Northern California, aren't you? Yeah, you're up there. Hey, I have a bow. It's a crossbow, but it's a bow. So it doesn't really count. I have so many firearms at this point, I can't afford another hobby. That's not a ATC. There's nobody in the United States you could have said that to, and they would know that ATC means Athletic Trainer Certified. Ridiculous. I would think it's possibly more than just a contusion. Don't know the length of time, but I'm thinking it's worth an x-ray. Nah. It just happened yesterday, so it's fine. Just Cow Guy says, sorry, internet lag there, didn't get any of that. I don't know what you mean. Seems like we were talking fairly consistently there. Does anyone have any questions on Walton stuff, seasonings? I'm gonna eat this burger for sure. You've now offended my wife. Oh, was it her opinion? I take it all back. 100% take that back. If your wife is the athletic trainer certified, then I'm fine with it. The problem was only if it was you. Have fun talking to Brett. He's a good talk. God, yeah, so good. I could eat the Hatch chili all the time. Just Cow Guy says, it's just me. I haven't gotten any since you started talking about elk. It's got to be just you, because they've been coming through like crazy. Well, not like crazy, but they've been coming through. I can squeeze it. Like it actually, like the compression on it feels good. Listen, I don't think if it's broken, it's just like a hairline, because I can do everything. I can move all of my fingers. The only thing I can't do is go that way with my fingers. I can do this with zero pain whatsoever. But if I try and do anything more than that, it really hurts. Dr. Payne would be a great guy to have here if he was on. David Fleer says, why are we watching you eat a freshly ground burger? How many can you eat tonight? Let's not do this, please. But I could eat all 4 of those without any real problem. I might need ketchup on the last one, but I 100% could eat all 4 of those. There's no real reason to do it, though. So I won't. Allie and I have a bet on who's going to catch the largest fish while we're up in Canada, because she's coming this year. The winner gets to go to any restaurant they want in Wichita, and the loser has to pay for it. I'm limited to 2 drinks if I win, but I'm very confident in my ability to outfish Allie. The concern is that I feel like Travis, who's one of the guides, is gonna try and sandbag and be on her side. For anyone who doesn't know, we'll just show it, because why wouldn't we? Here is the fish I caught last year. That is a 48-inch muskie. Is it not gorgeous? Do you see? But that's the type of fishing that's up there. So we're gonna compete to see who can catch the biggest fish. Muskies count, everything counts. Well, no, I won't be backslapping anybody for quite some time. Not AI photo. Not AI photo, that's ridiculous. If it was AI, why are my nipples showing? There's no way AI is gonna be like, oh, well, let's also give them some nipples. The Great Outdoors is what Just Cow Guy's talking about. That is a great movie. One of John Candy's best. But, so we go up and we do this trip with the Ron Shera guys. They host and produce TV shows like The Flush, Minnesota bound, back roads, and made for the outdoors. They came down to do an episode on us for Made for the Outdoors with our new building. And it was pretty awesome. Travis, who's the host of The Flush and a good friend of mine, doesn't normally do Made for the Outdoors, but he did this one. So he was here when the bet got made on who would catch the bigger fish, Allie or I. And he is one of the best fishing guides in Minnesota. He's caught a ridiculous number of muskies. He's probably caught more muskies than I've caught any other fish than bass. Like, it's crazy. These walleyes are some of the best fish. Oh yeah, there's absolutely no question. I used to not like walleye fishing. I thought it was boring. It's just kind of like this. And then we went up to Lake of the Woods in somewhere up in Canada. I don't know where it is, but it's this place called Totem Lodges, and we go out to this place, Wiley Point, and it's pristine. I've never seen one. People say they see bears swimming in the water all the time. Last year we woke up, I think on the second day we were there, and the whole staff was like, "Did you see it? Did you see it last night?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Apparently the northern lights had come out like incredibly strong. They showed us a bunch of pictures, and it was awe-inspiring. It was absolutely amazing. I was pissed they didn't wake us up to go see that, because it was gorgeous. Ugh. You know the hardest part of Cali, get rid of San Francisco and LA, and the whole rest of the state is amazing outdoors, wildlife, normal people. It's the same thing with New York. I grew up in upstate New York, and there are a lot of great people in the city too, though. So, but yeah, the city is crazy. Like, as a general rule, they're crazy people. But yeah, when I moved down here, I was like, okay, well, people from Kansas are closer to people from upstate New York than they would ever suspect. They have so much in common. It is really, I don't even think there's, I don't want to get into this. I don't even think there's a left-right problem in America or a divide. I just think it's rural and urban. Like, we just don't understand each other. Yeah. I was a huge Glenn Pike fan when I was a kid. For anyone who doesn't know, he was a skier who had like a 3-foot or 2-foot high mohawk. And he did that one day. He went skiing on like Bear Mountain or something, then went surfing, and then caught like some huge, I don't know if it was a rainbow trout or whatever, but it was pretty awesome. Yep. Yeah, but I mean, there's just more people in the city, so that's what's going to happen. It's unfortunate. Well, is it even unfortunate? Whatever. It is what it is. Not much that can be done about it. Get away. Ooh. I've got a fly on a piece of meat over here. Do you guys want to see me assault gun a fly? Let's see if we can do this. Okay. That fly is not moving. It's very intent on what it's up to. So you can see it. Oh, yes. Oh, no, we got to get him again. He got up and flew away. All right, well, now I have to spend the rest of the night finding that fly. But thanks for joining us, guys. That was a lot of fun. I'll do one of these on Thursday. Then you won't see me for a couple of weeks because I'll be in Canada. We would be off next Monday anyways, but I won't do one next Thursday. So the next one will be 2 Mondays from now. So we'll see you guys.